Odyssey, but like the small stuff just adds up, and it can cost you a lot of time. And that's like the biggest thing in these tournament races is just minimizing your mistakes.
Yeah, it looks like we're off here. Krankdud has started up his game. Still waiting on GoronJackson. Up, and there he goes too. Looks like we were probably going to take a minute at some point and get these two synced up. That'll probably happen shortly, so we can get a better idea how close or far apart they are.
Yeah, we gotta wake Mario up, get his cap. Here in the Cap Kingdom, it's pretty straightforward. It's sort of like a tutorial area, but we don't really stop for anything. We just go straight on through and skip some of these cutscenes, and yeah, we're off.
Man, Krankdud he is motoring along. He's doing this sort of stomp thing to get his rolling started, which, oh goodness, is he gonna fall through this bridge?
Yeah, he needs to be careful. So like this bridge is gonna spawn if he yeah, he threw his cap. If Mario was like underneath that bridge, that would have been very bad for him.
Krankdud, he's got himself a frog. I have covered up one of the timers, so I'm not sure exactly where they are. Okay, they're about 115.
Ooh, okay. A little bit of pause there from Goron. You don't want to go into the pause menu, but yeah, you're trying to skip these cutscenes as fast as you can, so sometimes you jump the gun.
That frog can be tricky because, like, if you are not careful with your motion controls, you can pull the hat back to you before it has landed on the frog, and that really messes you up. Krankdud is having a bit of trouble here with Topper, unfortunately. Probably lost him a good 10 seconds or so. This is a good opportunity for GoronJackson to catch up.
Yeah, it looks like Goron definitely made up some time on Krankdud there, so.
What's up?
I think we have almost got a clock on the other side, so we'll hopefully soon be able to sync these two up. In the meantime, Krankdud has moved on to the first proper level of the game, Cascade Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, early on in this game, it's just it can be sort of a chore. You're just skipping a lot of the text, a lot of the cutscenes, and trying to get to the hard stuff because it definitely there's a really important trick that's coming up here in Cascade Kingdom. So a lot of these things are a little trivial, but definitely you don't want to fall into the water there. You're gonna cross this bridge.
These first two levels pretty straightforward for the most part. Once I think the run really starts once you get to the next level of Sand Kingdom.
I really like that from Krankdud. So he does like this little spin, and then he stomps and gets himself like a lot of speed, just to roll across and get himself moving along. But GoronJackson, not too far behind him.
The gap is fairly close. It should be. The game just started out.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. You're gonna grab this T-Rex, and there's a specific sort of setup here where you want like the left leg to touch the trampoline there, and it sends you in the air, and you just jump on straight to this boss fight.
Both of them nail it pretty easily. So now Krankdud, he's doing a pretty nifty strike here where he basically tries to bonk right there on the Chain Chomp's head in order to damage it as soon as possible and capture it before Madame Brutal can move anywhere.
Yeah, that stops the attack much sooner, and you capture it again for another strike on Madame, and looks like both of them had a really good fight.
Yeah, those two very solid Cascade Kingdoms right there. There's one particular moon left, but doesn't normally give people trouble.
Yeah, basically, you know, a lot of these stages, these kingdoms, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get enough moons to power up the Odyssey and just move on to the next stage. And here in Cascade, you go straight to Madame, you get the 3 moons there, and then you just gotta grab one more, and it's real close by. It's just above a high cliff. A little bit of a mistake. Did not intend to grab that chain chomp, so bonks right into the wall.
GoronJackson could catch up here, and he does. He gains a lot of time right there. And I think at this point, despite what we're looking at on the screens, GoronJackson is actually ahead by several seconds if you get the 2 timers synced up.
Yeah, definitely. I was a bit worried about this Crank. You know,
so here's how much I want to
be
play Odyssey right now.
kind of rusty.
I'd rather play Overwatch.
So if
instead.
Goron's on top of his game, you know, he could win this match, despite the difference in their PBs. So, you know, Crank, he hasn't really been playing Odyssey that much, so it certainly could happen.
Mm-hmm. This is why you never rely on the PBs too heavily, especially if they're close, because all sorts of things can happen.
Right? Yeah, you have to account for like nerves and stuff like that.
Okay, that's
in a
true.
race.
Maybe I
It's just, you know, it's very different.
Well, it looks like we have our 2 timers synced up here, and GoronJackson does have a bit of a lead on Krankdud.
Oh, I should probably skip that sentence.
Something I want to take a look at is see if there's any difference in their load times, because that can make a big deal in a close race.
Yeah, so here in Sand Kingdom, first thing you do is going straight into town. And, you grab the moon on top of the building. You're gonna go into this pipe. Looks like Krankdud missed it, but
yeah, that's not supposed to be.
Just crown pound here. Looking for the rumble in the sandy floor.
Mm-hmm. I was speedrunning this in front of my sister at one point, and she just memorized where that moon was, and so she never actually learned how to do that puzzle correctly.
Yeah, I think if you talk to the guy there, he'll tell you, he'll give you a little hint, but we ain't talking to nobody. We just need to grab the moons, and some pretty good movement here. Jumping on top of the icicle, Goron, up on top of the archway.
See, Krankdud pulls off the same thing. Oh, he takes a slightly safer thing, but he loses barely any time.
Yeah, there are a lot of different strats that you can do. You know, backflip jumps, ground pound jumps, aerial cap, maneuvers here and there, diving. As long as it, you know, as long as you don't bonk anywhere, you should be fine.
Yeah, bonks are, it's easier said than done though. GoronJackson with an interesting strat. He's throwing his hat from long distance to break those 2 blocks. Haven't seen that.
Yeah, you saw Crank just get in close range, you know, do some combos on those boxes, break them open.
Looks like both of them got the bullet though, so they're both off to this pillar over here, which holds a moon. It can be pretty difficult to get if you screw up the timing with that bullet. It looks like both of them are going to be taking the exact same route through the Sand Kingdom. I wonder if either of them are going to try Sphinx Skip.
Yeah, we'll see what we do. We see Goron going right to the back of it. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Gets it first try. Krankdud not having the same success, unfortunately. But second try, hey, that's, you know, he's keeping up with him.
Yeah, he's not too far behind. It's still a close race. GoronJackson picking up all them coins.
Yeah, coins are a big thing. You're gonna grab some here in the Sand Kingdom. Looks like, okay, looks like Crank was about to miss grabbing some of those coins, but as he leaves the Sphinx vault, He's able to grab himself a decent amount. They're both over. Well, wow, Goron has already 200. Krankdud only has about 100. So he has. These guys want to leave here, being close to 200 coins, and that's gonna be important because they're gonna buy moons later in the game.
Yeah, there's another 50 coins waiting for you on top of this skip that GoronJackson just did and Krankdud's about to do.
Yeah, this is very, very scary. Because if you mess this up at all, you fall into the purple water, into the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it. It kills you, and you have to go back to a checkpoint.
Yeah, there is no way to not die if you fall there. We have tried. Anyone want to do a bonk counter? I'm already a bit too late on that, unfortunately.
Ooh, okay, looks like okay. Goron able to hit the bird. This is what they want. The bird is right there for them as they're going to grab the moon in the sand there where the birds gather, and then the bird flying over the oasis or the desert, I should say.
Timing on that is not too bad at all if you do the Sphinx skip. If you do not do the Sphinx skip, if you go through normally, it's actually very tight timing. So Dagroth suggests the purple drank for the purple stuff, and that's not too bad.
So you saw there in this Sand Kingdom, no boss fights. We're just trying to, again, just trying to grab as many moons as we can and just move on through the stage. And then we're going on to the Lake Kingdom. There will be a boss fight at the end of this. So all the kingdoms have the minor little differences. And there's always sort of like this little intermission here. So they got to skip some text and then be ready to skip the cutscene.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice little reprieve, rest your mind a little bit.
Yeah, especially in a game that has, all this 3D movement in it.
GoronJackson, see him climb this wall here. He's throwing his cap. And he grabs the edge. He makes it over the wall just fine.
Yeah, you're going to see Krankdud. He's going to throw out his cap right there, then bounce off of it as he rolls toward it. And then you're going to try to get that zipper. It looks like Krankdud almost missed it, but he finally gets it there. You got to reveal this secret area here. Grab the moon right there. Into the water, Goron goes. And we're going to grab a cheap. The cheap is the fastest way to move in the water. So we're going to make use of that.
It's necessary for a skip that's going to be happening in just a few seconds. It's like these two, they're closing the gap pretty... yeah, a little bit they're closing the gap. And once we get out of this kingdom, I'm going to figure out exactly how far apart they are. Here's GoronJackson coming up on cheap skip. And very nicely done.
Yeah, nice big leap out of the water. And then into the boss fight against Rango.
Krankdud's got an even proer strat. Doesn't even have to jump off of the wall to do the skip. He knows exactly how far apart he needs to be.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple fight, but oh wow, look at that sink right there. That's beautiful. So it's a pretty simple fight, but the slightest little mistake, you could just run into Rango, you lose some life, and it could really get away from you. So you really have to be precise with how you're timing your jumps right on top of his head.
Yes, absolutely. You could see that on the left screen, Krankdud had some incredibly good time, and he was able to damage Rango almost as soon as it was actually possible. So that's a great way for him to catch up on time. Looks like Krankdud has just barely clinched the lead. So looks like I think we're going to be in for a very close and fun race.
Yeah, like most of the the Odyssey races at this tournament, a lot of it, comes down to, the latter half of the game. The early game is important. You want to keep your mistakes to a minimum and stuff like that. But like once it gets to Lost Kingdom, you get to Metro Kingdom. These are a lot of tough stages, and you got to come through the clutch because you can die very easily.
Yeah, these two, I think they are less than 2 seconds apart at this point. So now this is, for me, this is the start of like the really difficult stretch of the run, from here all the way to the end of the Metro Kingdom.
All right, pretty similar strats there. Colliding with the little bunny rabbit. You got to get the moon from him, and that bunny rabbit can run around. So you got to close in on him pretty fast. And then here's the first moon that you buy. The shop's right there. It's right along the way, so might as well get one.
There's going to be another one a little bit later in the run in the Snow Kingdom. Now let's see. I wonder what sort of routes we're going to see from these two regarding water and the such. Krankdud gets a good lever. Let's see, is he going to go for the uproot, or is he going to... Yeah, he is going for the uproot. It is possible to get up here without an uproot with some really precise and impressive jumping.
Ooh, a bit of a mistake there from Goron. Looks like he wanted to dive towards the nut there, but unfortunately dives away. And he's going to have to grab himself the uproot, get the moon, and now he's got some catching up to do.
Krankdud is going right for the water here. He is making extremely good time through it. Let's see if he can get it perfect.
Ooh, he's getting real close. Wow, to some of these enemies, cutting it real close there. If you take damage from these enemies and then you grab these moons, there's a bit of a pause because the game will refill your health, so you lose a little bit of time there. So making it look pretty scary, but yeah, no big deal for him.
Not at all. And he gets up that wall very impressively as well. He is pulling out the pro strats right here.
Oh boy. Oh, Goron needs to watch out. He's down to 1 on his health. So a bit scary right there. We're just kind of holding our breath, want to see if he makes it through here into the red maze. Yeah, looks like it'll be fine. He's going to grab this moon. It's going to refill his health, and you're going to see it's going to take some time to refill, just like that. And it's time you do not want to lose, but at least he has full health now. He can proceed on through.
Krankdud, meanwhile, is tearing it up over on the left. He is bringing out the proist strats. He's shaking off the rust.
Yeah, we'll see. Krankdud is definitely not one to take safety strats, in my opinion, or for as long as I've watched him. So he tries to go as hard as he can, playing any of his speed games. And if he takes a death, he's just gonna go right back into it and try it again.
He tried for a P switchless there, but it didn't quite work out for him. And this little skip didn't quite work out either, unfortunately, but he's got the backups, so it's okay.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Well, it looks like Goron, he's committed to it. Let's see it. All right, he makes it over there without the switch. And doing what Krankdud couldn't do. That's very impressive.
Krankdud, he takes a really nasty fall. Oh, that is a big time loss for Krankdud, unfortunately.
Wow! He was at the entrance, I saw him, and yeah, he fell. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's gonna give GoronJackson the lead. At least he didn't fall into the deep woods.
Yeah, that. So there are certain sections in the stage where if you fall off the side, you go into another area of this kingdom, which we call the Deep Woods, and let me tell you, that's a big time loss. That is not something you want to see.
Not at all. It's like 45 seconds at least, I want to say.
Yeah, there are no backup strats if that happens. I don't think.
You can't even warp out, I don't think. You just have
No.
to.
You just sort of eat it.
And then they're both now at Spewart, which is a pretty quick and straightforward boss fight if you're a speedrunner. Jackson gets the... Ooh, wow, both of them get some very nice fights against Spewart. Good for both of them.
So a lot of back and forth, you know, going into these kingdoms. One person will be in the lead, and then it just sort of changes hands. So we might see a lot more of that. It's pretty fun to watch right now.
Because I don't know who's going to win this. I think we're going to be in for a really good race. So what sort of times I am going to get an official time and how far apart they are as soon as we get to the Odyssey again. Just about 4 seconds apart with GoronJackson in the lead. Alright, so Wooded Kingdom, one of the most difficult kingdoms in the game in my opinion, is finally done. And now we're going to move on to a real proper boss fight here against Bowser. What are the predicted finish times? You would have to ask someone better at this than me.
I want to say, you know, somewhere close to what Goron's PB is, so maybe around the 110 range, maybe a little bit better, but yeah, it's hard to say. Again, Krankdud, he has a very good PB. He has a 107, but he just okay, hold that thought, because Goron, a little bit of a mishap there with the cap, and he takes the death.
That did not go how he wanted, for sure. Got it the second time around. But, you know, Krankdud seems like he's doing the risky strats, trying to get into that hat as soon as possible, but there is a big danger associated with that.
Yeah, again, Krankdud, as I was saying, he has a very good PB, but I haven't really seen him, you know, playing this a whole lot. So he's been sort of taking a break, or maybe he's moved on some other things. But in any case, he's still in the tournament, and he's fighting for his tournament life right now, because this is single elimination.
Looks like Krankdud is gonna finish out this race without any soft blocks. Hopefully the same for Goron.
So what sort of soft lock are you talking about there?
Right there, the way that they're grabbing this hat by flipping up into the air and getting under it, it is possible that Mario will simply get stuck in the air, unable to move, and that's just sort of the end of the fight for you.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah, I've seen that in a tournament race, and it was the deciding factor in that race. It was very painful to watch.
Oh boy. Yeah, hopefully we don't see any of that, but we are in a pretty tough section. This is the Lost Kingdom, and Krankdud, it never ceases to amaze me when you see these guys move Mario off of this tree and make these jumps up here. So let's see what Goron does. He's gonna have another go at it. Looks like he almost messed it up.
Good.
Okay. I just need to get over to this moon. Again, there's a gap right there. I don't put it past the players to make it over there, but I just still feel sort of squeamish when you just made that hard trick.
Yes.
And then you're going over that big gap right there.
The reason they're doing this is because if you go through this level the normal way, this bird over here, Klepto, will come and steal your cap. But if you go around the long way, you can avoid having your cap stolen. You can proceed normally. One of the commentators is much quieter than the other. It's probably me. I'm going to try turning up my sound. I have turned up my sound. Hopefully I was the quiet one and I'm not anymore.
Oh boy. Okay. Krankdud. Yeah, again, he's pulling out all the stops with some of these strats. Okay, now he's going up there. Getting the second to last moon there.
Alright, let's see if he can do this deathless, which is something that's very tricky to do. And he's got it. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a really good, I want to say, really good Lost Kingdom from Krankdud, minus the little mishap with the cage moon right there.
Yeah, a
But,
little bit. I was worried he was going to fall off one of the propellers, but looks like he's got it no problem.
Okay, well, Goron takes the death there. Not a big deal. It does put you back near the Odyssey. So
Yeah.
you just gotta throw his cap right there, power it up. We're moving on.
It's a valid strat, I think. What sort of time difference are we looking at here? Looks like just about 20 seconds separating these two right now.
Oh man. That's still, that's still very close.
Yeah, one bonk in the tower.
Yeah. they're making a lot of these jumps like from a high altitude. So, when they bonk, they're falling all the way down. So that's a huge time waste.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a big little, sort of sequence break here. They're gonna do a little bounce right there, and then jump right on top of the building. Nicely done by Krankdud. You're gonna see Goron try to attempt the same. You can get the girder sandwich moon over there, but Krankdud, he bonks into the sandwich itself, so he's gonna do some wall jumps to get back up here.
Well, at least he did not fall down into the pit of death. That would have lost a huge amount of time. GoronJackson, can he... Oh, he's going for the long jump, it looks like. And he makes it. Nicely done.
Yeah, so definitely made up some time there. Again, like bonking and falling all the way down. That's gonna hurt Krankdud a bit.
Yeah, so Goron, he's gained a little bit of time on Krankdud, handful of seconds.
Okay, so Goron's about to enter the city hall, and I gotta tell you, coming into here, this area is no gimme. Like, sometimes you just mess up how you climb up the little girder here, or the cap just gets away from you and you just fall all the way down. So the players are making it look easy, and yeah, no problems whatsoever. So I give them props for that.
Nice work. Krankdud had a little bit of trouble getting up the very first hurdle, and he missed the first elevator cycle, I think. But yeah, no major problems from the two. Nothing run-ending.
Yeah, Goron, he just needs to stick around. He needs to just keep up with Crank, and that's going to give him a chance, because, again, I've talked about, like, the little mistakes, and the less mistakes Goron makes, he can definitely come from behind here and take it from Crank. But we have the Mecha Wiggler. What can you tell us about this boss?
I can tell you that it is very difficult to try and get this boss tackled in only 2 phases, which is the main goal of fighting this guy. He plays this little tank. You gotta shoot all of his lit up sectors in a single round, which is really difficult because of how fast he's moving right now. You have to be really precise with your aiming. And oh, Krankdud is... Oh wow, that actually worked out a lot better. Oh no!
Yeah, we were just talking about it. He had like one little section there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get all of it.
Goron, though.
Yeah, Goron. Again, back and forth between these two racers.
Yeah.
So you can see the time loss here for Krang.
Yeah, if you miss this 2 cycle, it is like 20-30 seconds lost, because you have to go through another phase of the Mecha Wiggler teleporting between buildings, which is a huge pain. So now they're done with Night Metro, which is the scariest metro, and the rest of the kingdom is not nearly as difficult, a lot more free, a lot more moons just hanging around. It's more fun.
Yeah, definitely more fun, in my opinion. We get the sun's out. It's very more vibrant.
Yeah, that boss is a real stumbling point. One of the things you're definitely going to want to practice if you want to speedrun this game.
Okay, so you see Goron, he throws his hat out, and he wants to keep it there so that it connects with this power line after he grabs the moon. He's jumping onto the scooter. Let's see. He's got to jump over this and then lean into this moon. Oh, he's having trouble with it. This is no good. Okay, he finally gets it. Definitely lost some time there. We'll see how Krankdud handles it. Yeah, it looks like he's trying to line it up. It didn't take Krankdud nearly as long, so he's going to catch up a little bit here.
Yeah, that was a very good scooter skip from Krankdud. So now, GoronJackson is going to try a long-distance friendship right here. Yes, perfect friendship from GoronJackson. And from Krankdud. Nice.
Yeah.
That is
Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Jumping straight into this guy's heart, grabbing a moon.
That is definitely not as easy as it looks. And I can't tell you how many times I've landed on that bench and like raised my arms to celebrate, and the motion control makes me jump off of the bench.
Oh no. You're trying to be bench friends here, man. You can't
No, I gotta
can't dilly daddle.
Can't count my benches before they hatch.
Certainly not. In any case, there's a dumpster up here, and it's got a moon in it, so I'm gonna grab that and dive right down into this moon above the little swing in the breeze.
That moon was actually possible to get during night metro, but it was not as fast as getting it here in the daytime, so everyone leaves it for later. Can we call the long-distance friendship a pen pal? Sure, you can call it whatever you want, man.
Alright, so you go all the way to the top of the city hall, up the needle, and now you're diving all the way down. Doing a little ground pound here, left of the cafe. And now we're going into this little crowded area.
This area, it looks more difficult than it is because you just have to roll along the right wall here and you'll miss everybody.
That was really close there by Crank. He threw out his hat to pull the lever, and then he was like really rolling along. So if that that homing ability from the cap, if it didn't grab the lever, he would have had to backtrack there. Oh, and missing the little gymnastic poles here. Okay, here we go. He's back on track.
There we
Yes, certainly has some catching up to do to go on here.
go. Yeah, this is an interesting race. It's like Krankdud, he's got like the better strats, but he's like still definitely rusty, as you said. Goron having a little trouble finding his way out of City Hall.
Yeah, the camera there, you know, it's not facing the entrance, so you're sort of kind of blindly backing out of that room, and it can be hard.
It can. One time, and only one time, I was teleported into that room, and there was no one in it, and it was super creepy. It's never happened since. Looks like GoronJackson just picked up the final moon of the Metro Kingdom, so he's going to warp his way back to the Odyssey. So he's got decent lead going into... I don't know which... he's probably going to the Snow Kingdom because he picked up so many coins.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to the coins. GoronJackson, for someone who was asked in the chat, his PB is 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 17 seconds. So it looks like he's doing pretty good. Again, no real major trip-ups here. But that can all change real quickly.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's about 16 seconds separating these two at this point. Yeah, this lead is like sort of oscillating wildly between these two. It's like both of them are going off to the Snow Kingdom, which is... You don't always want to go to the Snow Kingdom first. You want to make sure you have 100 coins before you do, because this is where you're going to buy that other power moon.
Okay, yeah, it looks like Krankdud. He's okay on coins.
Oh, yeah.
That's well over 100. So. And then there's certainly some coins there to pick up in the town. But before you go into town, you gotta get a moon here from Captain Toad.
Both of them broke the igloo, though. Now Captain Toad is going to freeze. That's unfortunate.
He's got some shelter. it's not a whole lot, but of sorts.
You can do that without breaking his igloo at all. Not easy. Anyway, GoronJackson is about to buy a moon. Now these next two kingdoms are interesting because both of them you have to have 10 moons to advance, but the Snow Kingdom is far slower because the moons are more spaced out and there are more cutscenes and it takes longer to get them. So
yeah, it's sort of divvied up into these little challenge rooms. So, and the rooms themselves, they're no gimmies. They ask you to do some of these really interesting, like different tasks to get the remaining moons in this kingdom. We see a bonk there from Goron. Here's Krankdud. He's gonna get up on top of that umbrella, and he's got the moon in the chest.
Getting up there in a way I haven't seen before. Good for him. GoronJackson, he's entering the first challenge moon, and this is a difficult one. You've got to do some careful and quick jumping over poison. If you screw this up...
Oh no! And yeah, he unfortunately falls into the purple drank. Again, that purple drank is not your friend. It will instantly kill you. Okay, we see Krankdud. He's setting up. He's gonna try to backflip right there, and he's gonna grab the moon on top of this little archway.
Both of them just got the moon. Krankdud has very slightly pulled away. Lead changes yet again.
And the last part of this, you gotta capture one of these Typhoos, or as Dram likes to call them, the blow-joys. You gotta blow these little spiny shells off into the purple drank. It's very malicious, but it has to be done. So we get ourselves a moon.
Alright, so now they're going to be moving on to the second challenge room, which is not quite as difficult, but there's still lots of opportunity for death.
It's narrow passageway. It always makes me nervous. You're going along with the Goombas, but you gotta get yourself a little Goomba stack here. Hit the switch, so you can grab that moon right there, and then we're gonna see if Krankdud does this really quick strat. Let's see it. Let's get a yep. And that's gonna be a death for him. This is the risk reward with that. So you know you go very fast, but. You gotta clear this big gap. He's going for it again. Wow, and they grab this moon at the same time. It is synced up. We are tied.
Even? Look at that.
What a backup strat from Crank. So that was definitely a chance there for Goron to take the lead. But Krankdud, he's keeping up with them.
Yeah, Goron, he took the slightly safer strat. He didn't realize just how fast Krankdud could recover.
Okay, here we go. We got the last moon of Snow Kingdom. Just gotta go through this little secret area in the back, and then you warp back to the Odyssey. And see you later.
Yeah, this people in chat, this is not the first time we've seen a perfect sync. Krankdud, he's got a very slight lead, maybe only a couple of seconds, as we move into the Seaside Kingdom, which is going to be much faster kingdom, as all the moons are very closely packed together.
I definitely feel like it's well, like the beginning of this kingdom. There are a lot of tricky jumps, a lot of tricky setups. You do have to collect the moons. You gotta go in a straight line. I've certainly seen some runners mess that up, but once you get to the latter half of the kingdom, it gets a little more relaxing. So not nearly as difficult, but it's a nice little reprieve before we move on to some of the harder kingdoms later to come.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the several big tests still on their way later in this run.
Okay, here's like the hardest part is getting up to this moon up here. Cliff overlooking the beach. No problem for either of them, so they got the hard part, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. The rest of this is fair. There's one. Ooh, bonk.
Yeah, Crank, he's been collecting a lot of those bonks.
He sure has. There's one more tricky jumping section right here. This area where you're supposed to get some sort of jet octopus, but you can just jump your way up here if you know what you're doing. And no trouble for either of them. Oh, yeah, Krankdud is fine. Collecting all of those notes like a boss. Okay. Okay, that can be a little bit of a scary moon, because if you fly a little bit off too far to the left or right, you're gonna have to swim all the way back and try it again.
Yeah, it's certainly no fun when you mess it up.
Mm-hmm. So now, Krankdud is a cheap, and he's gonna stay a cheap for the rest of the kingdom. Coming up right here, you're going to see the reason why some people do Seaside Kingdom first before the Snow Kingdom, because they can collect this enormous amount of coins here to make sure that they can afford the moon in the Snow Kingdom.
Yeah, this little tunnel here, it's like a bunch of coins.
I think it's something like 40.
Yeah, it's a good amount, so gonna say hello to our friend Dory. Another appearance by Dory, hiding the moon from us.
Yeah, you can see that they're just moving right from moon to moon. They're collecting them within seconds of each other. There we go. Krankdud is done with the Seaside Kingdom. And GoronJackson is not far behind at all.
Yeah, it's still really close. Kind of what I expected, honestly. Again, Goron, his PB is about a 110. Krankdud barely has a 107. And Crank, he just, in my opinion, he hasn't been playing the game nearly as much. So a little bit of rust, but he's still holding a slight advantage here as they're moving on into the Luncheon Kingdom. I just want to take this moment to remind you all that you're watching the Speed Gaming channel on Twitch. If you go to speedgaming.org, you will see a lot of links there for the schedule for the channels. We do have 4 channels, and they're dedicated to multiple games, so check that out if you want. Krankdud is entering the Luncheon Kingdom, and there's no purple drink here, but it's sort of like this little fruit juice, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't. It just burns you. It's sort of like lava, so that's not going to kill him in this kingdom.
Krankdud had a 10-second advantage going in here. I think he is going to gain a little bit on this skip because GoronJackson did a slightly slower version of it. And here we are for the second skewered fight, which for a speedrunner is identical to the first because you never give him the chance to bounce around. Yeah, in addition to this tournament, we are hosting other tournaments going on at the same time. There's Link to the Past, Key Sanity, there's a Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer tournament. There's always something interesting going on, so you should follow all 4 of these channels. And no trouble for either player fighting Spirit a second time.
So sort of like with the Snow Kingdom, Luncheon has a bunch of these little rooms that have sort of challenge rooms where there's some moons hidden around. You're gonna see Krankdud, a nice little strat there, going around the corner, and he's just gonna. Both players are gonna grab this moon and then quickly exit out.
GoronJackson's entering just as Krankdud is leaving. Krankdud just does not stop for nothing.
Nah, yeah, it's working out for him right now. Just needs to clean up his movement, and yeah, he can keep this advantage that he has over Goron. So there's a nice little strat there. So he comes up on top of this building, throws the cap, and then he homes the cap into the box where the moon is hidden. Now a little basketball shot, throwing the golden turnip into the pot, and GoronJackson still got some catching up to do. He's working on the box moon here. Wow, that was quite a dive there from Krankdud.
That was scary.
Wow. He probably has better depth perception than I do with Mario, but yeah, it never really seems like he's gonna make it to that island.
Alright, Krankdud is entering the Forks room. They're one of 2 different challenge rooms you can do in this level. There's the Forks room and the Magma room. And let's see which one Goron takes. If you do it right, I think the Forks room is faster, but it requires some pretty precise motion control inputs.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it looks like they're both going into Forks. A little bonk there from Goron.
I do not see many people doing Magma anymore, honestly.
I think, yeah, one of my favorite Odyssey players. I see Dram still doing Magma, I believe. So, but yeah, few and far between. Oh, okay. So we see Krankdud. He's gonna grab this turnip, and he's actually gonna use it to do a nice little skip here. He's spinning in the air like a helicopter. I think that's not what he wanted, but we have Goron finishing up the Forks room.
Oh boy, Krankdud is going for the cheese skip.
Yeah, he's trying to cut down on the dairy. Let's see if he can do it. He's got to get this Koopa right there. Does he have the right position? Oh, he does. It didn't look correct to me, but little did I know.
First try.
Yeah, Krankdud is in there. We'll see. Does Goron attempt the same? Nope. He's just gonna do the little switch. So, what you have to do, if you're not doing this skip, is you got to grab yourself one of these hammer bros, break the cheese, and hit the switch.
Yeah, I guess it's the safer way of doing it. Like, if you screw up the cheese skip, then it is definitely slower.
Yeah, there's definitely time to lose there. You know, the setup takes, yeah, that's you have to take time to do the setup and get the positions right. So very time dependent, but definitely safer to just take the Hammer Bros and finish it up. But Krankdud is about to finish up the Luncheon Kingdom here. He's got the multi-moon. And yeah, he has expanded his lead over Goron. But there's still plenty more to go. We've got 2 more kingdoms. Well, there's 3, excuse me. And there's a lot more skips, a lot more tricks to do. It's definitely not a gimme.
Not at all. I didn't really see any major mistakes from either of them. It was just on raw execution, he picks up just so much time.
Yeah, I think Krankdud was making quite a few mistakes early on, but he was feeling it in this kingdom at the very least. Uh-oh, Goron pausing the game. You need to grab this multi-moon first.
So what sort of time are we looking at here? 49, I gotta remember that. Trying to figure out just what the time difference here. It's looking like it's gonna be something like 30 to 40 seconds separating these two now. Now Krankdud, he has entered the Ruined Kingdom, so he's going to go for what is basically an auto-scroller kind of boss fight. There's not much you can do to speed this up.
Yeah, this is sort of a lull in the game, in my opinion. But definitely had to get their dragons into Mario.
You know, as you do, always have a dragon in a Mario game.
But yeah, so taking a little damage there. That's actually gonna slow the Crank a little bit. He's got to do a ground pound. He's got to pull the Neels out, then do a ground pound on the head. And there are these little shiny mounds on the ground. Uncover some hearts there, so you can get your life back if you need be.
And it looks like the two of them were about 51 seconds separated. So
yeah, it's quite the lead. That definitely affords Krankdud a few more big mistakes, but we still got Bowser Kingdom. There's a very important boss fight in the Bowser Kingdom that can cost a lot of time. You could save a lot of time there as well. So the end game is very sort of not top loaded, the opposite of top loaded, I would say, for Mario Odyssey.
yeah,
I don't know what that term is.
Yeah, it's there's just some really difficult stuff coming out in the last couple of kingdoms. There's an opportunity to lose minutes if you really take a bonk in the wrong place and then continue to get horribly mangled. Krankdud finishes off the dragon, no problem. GoronJackson taking a little bit more damage than he would like. He's in a bit of danger of dying if he's not careful, but no, he turns out fine.
Yeah, you always see those little enemies on top of the dragon there, but I've yet to see any of the speedrunners just end up dying there from those tiny guys. So it's sort of pretty easy, the Ruined Dragon. Just a little intermission before you get to the hard stuff. That's the Bowser Kingdom coming up for Krankdud.
The moons are not too difficult, but there is some tricky platforming and then some very tough boss fights ahead of them both.
We might see a different in Moon difference in moon routing here. We'll see. But I think most players have adopted the behind the big wall, one of the moons here early on. So you're going to grab this bird. That's going to help him climb. And yeah, so Krankdud, he's going to grab this moon right here, and then he's going to use the cap. He's going to home in on the bird again, get him back up the wall.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a nice little quick moon that you can grab right there.
Krankdud finishes off the ogre. Pretty quick miss. I can't talk.
Pretty quick fight with the ogre. We'll see what Goron does. Oh, looks like he wanted to hit both the birds there, just for fun. But yeah, he's also gonna get the behind the big moon. Well, he has got to throw the cap in the right way, so you want to throw the cap near the bird before you descend down, grabbing that moon.
He did get it though. A little bit of a mishap, but bird did not teleport away, thankfully.
Okay, so this is sort of a little thing here that you haven't seen before, but it is, you know, pretty common throughout this game. You gotta grab these moon shards, and Krankdud, ooh, nice little strat there, a little down throw, grabbing 2 of the moon shards right there.
Is heavily manipulating the path that the hat will take as it comes back to him. That's really impressive.
Ooh, unfortunately, he, as he was going to grab the moon, or the cap, captured one of the birds on his way back, so sort of slowed him down a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, these moons are mandatory to advance through the kingdom because we have these gates, and as soon as you grab these moons, the gates open up, so not a whole lot you can do. It would be nice to skip them, but you can't.
Even if you were able to climb over this gate, this little electrical pylon is not there until you get that moon. But yeah, like there's no moons showing on the mandatory moon counter on the left because the game is sort of trying to trick you into thinking this is the last kingdom, but you do need a total of 8 before you can leave.
Okay, so we have the second appearance of Topper. This is a much harder fight, and it lasts a lot longer, and Krankdud's handling it real well. Wow. Nothing but smooth sailing for him, so very nicely done.
He picks out that one hat among the billions, no problem. That is a big time saver. It's easy to lose that hat in the crowd. Now on to the only instance of my favorite brutal fight, Harriet. It's a shame that you don't fight her again, because this is a very fun boss fight, at least in my opinion.
I think I just like her character design, because she's very... she's very villainous in the way she moves, and then she's got the maniacal little laugh. So yeah, it's sad that this is the only instance you get to see her. In any percent, anyway.
She is a great example of how the developers included so many like intended in-game ways to speed up these boss fights, which I think is really cool.
Alright, so unfortunately, Goron, just as you said, that hat got away from him, and that lost him some more time, so the lead for Krankdud gets a little bit larger. But we still got the end of this stage, and then there's one more to go, so if you're rooting for Goron, you know, you just gotta, you know, keep with it. You know, he's not out of this, but he's definitely gonna need some help from Krankdud.
Yeah, he's running out of opportunities to make up this time, unfortunately. Krankdud could die on this next boss fight and lose a huge amount of time. I don't know, he's looking pretty rehearsed right now. He's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think he's warmed up. We'll see.
Climbing up this wall nice and fast. Very well done. Yep. So now he is off to what is, for me, the most difficult part of the entire run, and he bonks.
Okay, here we have it. This giant machine here is the big Mecha Brutal. It's got to climb on top, and there are 4 weak points on it with the Brutals inside of them. So he's got to do a little ground pound on each of them. Ooh, okay. Krankdud, he almost missed with that second ground pound.
Yeah, that was scary. No, it's much harder than it looks to stay on top of this thing. You have to really manipulate your jumping, or else you're going to fall back down to the ground.
Okay, Goron, taking it a little cautiously there. You definitely don't want to fall in this area because it does mean your death. Krankdud, he's still working on this Mecha Brutal. Looks like it's going very well for him.
Ooh, wow.
And yeah, very nicely done.
That was an expert Mecha Brutal right there. He started off on the Rango side, which is something I've started to see more of, and I guess it is just very slightly faster to go up on that leg.
Okay, let's see how Goron takes on the Big Mac. Oh, looks like he's got a sort of a specific setup here, and he's trying to get it just right for him. Yeah, he's taking some extra time there. But he eventually gets up there, does, you know... yeah, as long as he can stay on top of this Mac, it should be fine. That's 2 hits. He's got 2 more.
Yeah, the first difficult part of this fight is getting up there, and then the second difficult part is staying up there.
Yeah, it's, the Mecha Brutal likes to blow you away, and then every time that happens, you just gotta cap jump back to the top. But then you gotta be careful when you do these ground pounds, because the mech will spin around. It'll do a lot of things to, you know, trip you up. All right, it's sort of a slow start, but GoronJackson finishes it off.
Yeah, well, a little bit tripped up at the beginning, but yeah, otherwise, both of them had a very solid fight. No major time loss mistakes from either of them. Still though, Krankdud's lead has only grown over the course of that kingdom. Now he is very far ahead. I think over a minute at this point.
Yeah, now we got Mario looking pretty dapper. He's on the moon, and there's very little gravity here. So you're gonna see a lot of big jumps. But most importantly, you're gonna see a big skip. And I would say a lot of the players are very comfortable with the skip now. You know, early on, it seemed to be very hectic for them.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, it can look like pure magic. But once you figure out the mechanics of it, where you're supposed to stand and jump, it does become a lot easier and more replicable. So
here we have our friend, the Sphinx. We're gonna do a ground pound jump right on top of his head. Unfortunately, Krankdud messes it up the first time. He's gonna try again. There's the aerial cap jump. There's the wall jump. He's got to do another wall jump. He's got it. He is on top. That skips the interior portion of the moon. And that's, yeah, it's very well done. That's a huge time save. You do not want to go inside the moon. That takes way too long.
No, that's several minutes, and you can't find any major skips anywhere in there. Or at least maybe no one's tried. Krankdud's PB is sub 10. It's in the 107s somewhere.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good time. but yeah, we'll see how he finishes up with the race tonight. We got the Bowser fight. This is a much lengthier Bowser fight. So you got to be on your toes here.
Right. This section right here, where he breathes fire, is a little bit of an auto-scroller, but it is possible for you to get a bit too far from Bowser, and then he just sort of starts the fire-breathing segment over again, and that's a time loss. What happened with that hat?
Okay. Yeah, this is a little odd, but in any case, he was able to get it, and Bowser did not jump away. That's the most important thing. When you grab this hat, you want to be right next to Bowser and then start punching him before he jumps, because once he jumps, you're losing a lot of time. He will not stop, doing what he wants.
GoronJackson is over here trying the moon skip. He fails his first attempt. Not a second.
Yep, there's the wall jump. He needs the second wall jump. Doesn't get it. He's got to set it up again.
He's in a very different spot than I am when I usually do this. This is interesting. That's more. Is he not? Nope. There we go. Got it on the second try. Nicely done. Now, Krankdud is about to enter the final segment of the game, and I think unless he has multiple major deaths, I don't think Goron really has a good opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, this is looking like Krankdud's game to win right now, but still gotta finish it out here.
Let's see how well Goron does. Wonder if he is going to be doing the difficult strats as well for Bowser.
Nice little triple jump. Breaking the little bridge here. Now going into the 2D section for Crank.
Is he going to do the 2D skip? Is he going to swag it up?
Yeah, I think a lot of the players in this tournament, it's 2D skip or nothing for them, it seems like. Unless if it's very close, you never know. But yeah, a lot of them like to do the 2D skip.
Krankdud pulls it off pretty easily.
And what we're referring to there is there's a little block section that you blow apart, and you're supposed to go all the way to the right and then come back to the left, but you can cut that. You can take a little shortcut by jumping on top of one of those bricks, and save yourself a little bit of time.
Now Krankdud is in the final room of the game where he has to break these 4 pillars. And you can see as he walked in that he sort of primed a pillar to his right so that he could get it down very easily at the end of this section.
That was really scary for Goron there. He was down to 1 health, but he clutches it out. He's going to be able to finish this race. Unfortunately, it's too little too late. Looks like Krankdud wasn't rusty enough, and he's going to be finishing up with a 108, looks like.
Yep, this is over. Fortunately, it's pretty much impossible to lose from here. But they're still within a respectable distance of each other. Both of them ran a good race. I'd say both of them should be proud. 108 is a really nice time for a race.
I'll be very honest. I was expecting a lot worse from Crank, being out of practice, but looks like he wasn't that rusty, and he was able to pull off a PB that was only about 40 seconds off of, or pull off a time that was only about 40 seconds off of his PB. So very impressive, and yeah, props to him. He has won his match. He's moving on into the latter portion of this tournament. Unfortunately, it is single elimination, so GoronJackson, he put up a good fight, but he played good, I want to say.
He got the 2D skip while we were talking as well.
Yeah.
It looks like Krankdud is going to be going on to face Oddme after this.
Oh boy, that's going to be a good one. Yeah, nothing but good matches in this tournament. Again, we had like a lot of entrants, and then we cut it down to a single elimination bracket. So, guys, the rest of the matches are just very top tier. Let's see what else we have on the schedule, but we have GoronJackson. He's going to finish up the game with a very respectable time.
He's going to get a 110 something. I don't know if he's on PB pace. He's still in the greens for right now. Can he pull it off? I don't know what his time is. I was not paying enough attention. Oh no, he just barely misses it by a matter of maybe 2 seconds.
Oh wow, that's really well played. Yeah, almost did it for Goron, but yeah, good job for him. But tonight our winner is Krankdud. If you guys are tuning in tomorrow, we do have more Super Mario Odyssey tournament matches happening. I don't know if they'll be restreamed, but we'll let you know.
Yes. I think either of these players, they would want to come in and talk about the race. You know, we can ask real quick.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we do have Valu taking on Okra Armband. So that should be a good one. And then on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Kerbis versus Nicro Vita. So look out for those matches.
Yeah, looks like both of the runners will be joining us here. Hey guys, great runs from both of you. Really well done.
Thanks.
Hey. Goran, you were really close to your PB there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was on PB pace till I missed the moon skip like twice. So,
oh gosh, that's a heartbreaker. But you know, very well played from you. I want to talk to Krankdud. Crank, how much have you been playing this game? Were you feeling rusty?
Yeah, I've just been playing Celeste instead.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Like a lot of other people, I think.
Right, you know, it's a pretty hot speed game right now, but you're able to pull out a very respectable time. So I just wanted to ask, do you see yourself coming back to this game?
Probably not for a while.
Not for a while, okay. But yeah, very well played. You get to advance if you guys are gonna keep up with the Super Mario Odyssey any % tournament. You will see Krankdud. Again, thank you to GoronJackson for playing tonight. He will be our runner-up. Sound Defense, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I guess I want to ask GoronJackson, how are you feeling about this race? How do you think this run went for you?
The run went actually extremely well because I haven't been doing any %. I've been focusing on darker side. So like I threw in one run like right before this and it was really bad, like a 112. So getting a 110 2 seconds off my PB is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was well done. Both like you can like a few mishaps here and there, but I mean that happens to everybody. You certainly beat my time out of the water, so well done there.
Thanks.
Yep, that's really awesome to hear from both of you. Again, if you want to, please follow our runners. That's Krankdud and GoronJackson. Again, my name is Joseph End, and that was the Sound Defense that you heard. And thank you for joining us tonight, guys.
Yeah, it looks like we're probably going to be going to the Key Sanity tournament after this, so stick around. That's probably going to be hosted next. So thanks everyone for watching.